Creeping on the come up with a 211 in my mind, persuaded by the devil, gripping on my black plastic now. Searching for a lick that I can hit with murder in my soul. Swinging bending corners in the 67 Elko.
One Piece has put the Straw Hat crew against a variety of sea-bound opposition throughout their voyage. For over 2 decades, the series has seen them fight assassins, bounty hunters, pirates, sea monsters, gods, and even zombies. This is a world where the villains and competitors of its infamous pirate race have much of a role in the ongoing dialogue of the series as the main cast. Such ideological challenge has never been more present than in one of the Straw Hats' latest epics in the New World, Dressrosa. This arc would have the Straw Hats clash with Gladiator and Marine alike, as they rushed to take the heads of vicious, warmongers of the Grand Line, the Don Quixote family. This list will be running down some of the arc's most dastardly and antagonistic, as it goes through the top 10 best villains of Dressrosa. Jola. Side villains don't get enough credit for distracting and hindering the sidekicks of any story. While an underappreciated job, these colorful offenders offer creative yet simple challenges to the story that, at one end, separate the group and, at the other, offer an easy challenge to boost the egos of the currently sidelined characters. Such as the honorable fate of Jola, the eccentric grandmother of the Don Quixote family. With her personal gang of hoodlums and her art fruit, she presented a fantastical and incredibly hindering challenge to Sanji's Dressrosa team. Jean Ango. Jean Ango served 2 purposes during the arc. First, he was an intermediary threat whose incredible, hoarding strength coupled with his expert sniping abilities were a constant threat during Luffy's block in the Kurita Coliseum. His second job was to provide exposition as to the aftermath of Luffy's prison break on Impel Down. He'd reveal that Luffy and Blackbeard, in addition to releasing their personal teams for the Paramount War, also inadvertently released some of the worst criminals of the prison's hidden level. As a bounty hunter, Jean Ango had been profiting from the event and now sought to claim his biggest head yet with Straw Hat Luffy. Pika. Pika wasn't so much a villain or even a fighter as much as he was an obstacle course for the Straw Hats' band of fighters. Nonetheless, he posed as one of the most significant threats in the arc, literally towering over all of his enemies and creating various hazards to deter the rioting streets. Being the hulking mass that he was, he served as the perfect strength gauge for some of Roronoa Zoro's new abilities after the time skip. Having the chance to cut straight through practically an entire city, Zoro used Pika as a major opportunity to get closer to Hawkeye Mihawk's feats. Jesus Burgess. A surprise entrant in the Kurita Coliseum, Jesus Burgess was a wild card within the arc. He'd come for the special opportunity to fight some of the sea's best fighters and earn Ace's Flame fruit. However, when he learns that Luffy is also on the island, he became a new obstacle that would continue Blackbeard's entire legacy of messing with this one particular family. That same family would hit back with an awakened fighting chance, when Sabo would enter the stage and uses Burgess as his first, official fight in the series. Though he would inevitably lose, Burgess wouldn't disappoint his captain and would continue his role during Dressrosa's aftermath. Don Chinjao. While he didn't remain an antagonist for long, Don Chinjao was one of Luffy's major obstacles during Dressrosa if he wasn't outright the preliminary boss fight before Doflamingo, such as with Luffy's confrontation with Blueno in Enies Lobby. A remnant of Garp's adventures, Chinjao wanted to enact vengeance upon Luffy for his grandfather crippling his beloved, spiked head. What would ensue was an epic battle pitting Luffy against his toughest, Haki-imbued opponent yet and a proving ground for a new addition to his forces. Sugar. If there was a character to pose much more of an immediate, environmental threat than Pika, it would be the Don Quixote family's adorable walking toy factory that is Sugar. Sugar was revealed to be the mysterious force behind Dressrosa's anthropomorphic toys, having used the powers of the Hobby fruit to silence some of Doflamingo's greatest detractors and subsequently having all of society forget about them and their actions. The major force that made everyone forget about Kairos and a looming threat during Luffy and Law's confrontation with Doflamingo, Sugar was a surprising threat whose main threat, as it turned out, would be the cowardly grimace of the Straw Hat sniper. Senor Pink. Senor Pink gets several points for his aesthetic and personality, and even more for somehow making that shine through despite his ludicrous demeanor. A throwback to the hard-boiled, crime families of Japanese media, Pink was the stoic vanguard, loyally and reliably handling the front lines of Doflamingo's operations. What kept him from just being a regular goon was the amazing aura surrounding him and the oddly touching backstory that weaved through his fight with Frankie. He was a strange yet hardened adversary who, if nothing else, made himself memorable within the arc. Trabol. The most classic of classic villains during the arc, Trabol played, in a ways, the dark wizard of the Don Quixote family. He was the one who nurtured Daffy's ascension into chaos since childhood and now stands as one of his top executives and advisors as a warlord of the sea. During the arc itself, Trabol would exemplify despicable, threatening behavior, going as far as to revel in the simple killing of some of the Tontettas. He was a strong and clever adversary, having been able to throw an entire ship with ease and utilized his stick fruit to trap opponents as well as trick them into thinking that he was a Logia type. His main opponent in the arc would be none other than Law himself, who would use his powers to circumvent Trabol's swampy mass to get to his real body. Diamante. Diamante's demise would prove to be as nearly cathartic as Doflamingo's. Having been the one to assassinate Rebecca's mom and Cairo's wife, Scarlet, his threat was the last challenge at the end of several years of regret and misery. However, don't let that dress up Diamante as this massive pushover. As Doflamingo's greatest fighter, Diamante was entrusted with taking on the likes of Rebecca, Cavendish, Jesus Burgess, and what was presumed to be Monkey D. Luffy during the tournament, handling each of them with surprising ease. With his flag fruit, Diamante is able to pull a vast array of resources from his sleeve and utilize them with the simple flourish of a flag. During his fight with Kairos, both his incredible sword fighting skill and manipulation of the environment would prove to be significant challenges for the now hobbled warrior. Don Quixote Doflamingo. Once standing at the top of the tower and now lying chained and cold within the depths of Impel Down, Don Quixote Doflamingo was not only the best villain of the arc but is often regarded as the series' best villain, period. His aesthetic and demeanor alone were able to attract fans, as his innate flamboyance and quiet bloodlust would complement one another to create one guy that no one would want to meet in an alley at night. His backstory also did wonders in vastly increasing fan engagement with the guy, easily crafting one of the most complex and compelling stories ever to touch the series panels. When incredible character meets incredible power, Doflamingo gently floats his way out of the ashes.